All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to everyone. Come on in, hit your like tag and share button. It is time for the Morning Motivation Evening Edition. And I am your host, Dr. Dante, and we have a great show on for you, tapped on for you tonight. Listen, it is episode number 50. Wow. I am overwhelmed by the opportunity to have been able to present 50 episodes of Today Matter to you, and the time has flown by. Listen, I'm excited. I know you're excited. Is anybody going to type on there 50? Wow. That's all you got to put in there. 50. Wow. That's amazing. We are moving at a pace that is unprecedented, and I need everybody to understand how incredibly excited I am and how important it is that we get through this. Listen, we got a lot to do today, a lot to do tonight. We're going to get through it. This is the Power 30. That's just the opportunity for you to get the last 30 minutes that's going to bless your entire life. Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Come on. If you're new to it, we're typing into Today Matters, John C. Maxwell. Great book. We are on chapter number 11, I believe. Chapter number 11. Yes. And where is it at? Here we go, right here. Today's relationships give me fulfillment. Today's relationships give me fulfillment. Now I'm running. Let me give you the joke of the day, the joke of the night. I recorded this earlier, but I recorded it without any audio. So I did 30 whole minutes with no audio, and so I had to come back and record it again. You would have never known enough, I told you, but I had to do 30 minutes, and obviously God wanted me to do it again. And I think it's because this character or this individual that John Maxwell is going to start us out with is it's very different. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but now I'm prepared. Woo! God always gives you an opportunity to come for that thing to come back around and you to do it better. And I think this is going to be a better one. I think this is going to be a better take for everybody. Amen, somebody. This Arm and Hammer that he's going to talk about is a very unique character, and you need to be heightened. You need to be alerted when you got individuals that are a little unique, a little flamboyant, outspoken. Those kind of people scare me. And this gentleman has proven the point. Okay, we're on chapter number 11, which is actually page 217 in the book, 217. Today's relationships give me fulfillment. Today's relationships give me fulfillment. Type in there this evening, relationship matters. Come on, you need to type that in there right now. Relationships matter. Every relationship you have right now matters. It does not matter how insignificant it is or how important it is. It matters to you. You need to be you need to be able to know which relationship to nurture, which relationship to pull back on, which relationship to make sure is in the proper position. All of your relationships matter. So let's get started. When Arm and Hammer, the chairman of Occidental Petroleum, died in December of 1990, he was a legend. In his 92 years of life, he had done things people only dreamed about. He had become a successful international businessman, a person of influence with presidents and statesmen, and a generous philanthropist and a patron of the arts. USA Today called him a giant of capitalism and confidant of world leaders, and a flamboyant crusader for world peace and a cancer cure. Now listen to what the world said. Look at what it says the moment he died. This is crazy, okay? The billionaire industrialist had cut a flamboyant swath throughout his colorful and varied career. A public figure, comfortable with royalty, heads of state, the rich and famous, he stirred up controversy among not only ardent admirers of his keen intelligence and bold strategies, but also scathing critics who questioned his ethics and powerful ego. a man of immense wealth. He endowed schools, museums, and cancer research centers with gifts totaling tens of millions of dollars. Now, this is critical now. This is what the report said of him after he died. Okay. Now listen, as we continue. Most reports cited his many accomplishments, making his first million by age 21, providing humanitarian aid and famine relief to Soviet Russia in 1921, improving U.S.-Soviet relations, and receiving numerous prestigious awards granted by over a dozen countries. The biographies written about Hammer before his death in 1990 described him in glowing terms. The story was that he saved his father's pharmaceutical company while he was still in medical school, traveled to the Soviet Union in his 20s, made huge amounts of money in business there, bought and amassed a huge collection of priceless Tsarist artwork and treasures, and made a fortune selling them in the United States. He later went on to buy a small and struggling Occidental Petroleum Corporation, turned it into a multi-billion-dollar organization. Most people thought he was a business genius, but after he died, the truth about him came out. Wow. I'm just warning. I think this chapter right here, for this to be our 50th episode, it's going to have to be big. John Maxwell is just warning us not to take people at face value. Woo! Do your research, especially if you have someone that you are admiring or you looking up to. Don't go head first in with them. You need to understand and check the fruit of them. You need to research. You need to really understand or really comprehend and understand who they really are. When you hear the rest of this story, it's going to blow your mind, because he created his own narrative. Okay, this is big, y'all. Listen to me. I need you, and this is for you. You need to understand that you need to live the life that's true about you. Come on. Live your true life. Don't live that fantasy life. That's what social media wants us to believe. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of people that'll show you one thing, but they live in a fantasy life. They live in a social media life. They live in a life that's made up, that's fake, that's phony. And I'm telling you, you need to, and if they can't appreciate you for who you are, then they don't deserve you. You need to live your own life. I told you a few days ago, you are worth living for. I'm talking about you with the job that you have, with the amount of money that you have, with the house or the apartment you live in, with the car you drive or the bus you catch. It don't matter. You are worth living for. Don't got to make up nothing for people to like you. You did that was high school. You ain't got to make up lies and tell people of things that you wish they would, just to make them like you. No, you are worth living for. The whole you, all of you. Flaws in the, listen, if they can't handle your flaws, if they can't handle your little issues that you still working out, guess what? They don't deserve you. Okay, because Hammer had a problem. Let's read. Armand Hammer's image was the result of a carefully crafted public relations campaign that spanned 7 decades. He manufactured much of his personal history. He manufactured it. It wasn't his real history. He put together his own view of his history. Okay. He continually controlled information about himself, hired ghostwriters to create fictitious autobiographies of his life, and even created a company, Armand Hammer Productions, whose mission was to make films promoting him. Wow. I'm talking to somebody here. You don't listen. People will always want you to see, not people, some, not everyone, will make you want to see their image. And this is why I'm always trying to be transparent with you, just to show y'all I'm not, listen, I wear, a nice suit every so often, and I try to present myself in front of people the best I can. But listen, I have flaws. I have issues. I have struggles. There's some things I got to work out in my life, but I'm working out my own salvation while I'm doing my work. Don't you ever look at someone like their flaws. Don't you put somebody on a pedestal because of how they look or how they talk or how they communicate. I'm here to tell you, everybody you see, everybody you communicate, everybody you admire, they have flaws too. Don't look at that marriage and think that marriage is perfect. I'm guaranteeing you they got struggles the moment they shut the door. Just like when you shut your door, you got struggles. It's big, y'all. Because when you stop looking at persons like that, you won't start looking down at yourself. Thank you, Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost just gave me the revelation. The reason you look down at yourself so much because you constantly looking up to people. You think they're better than you. You're thinking that they've done more than you know. You have to look at yourself on that same level. Yeah, they may have accomplished some things. Yeah, they may be a little bit more confident in themselves, but you are no different. You stop looking down at yourself because you constantly looking up at other people. I'm preaching today. Oh, yeah, I'm preaching today. I'm teaching you on today. Thank you for this, God. Thank you for the retake. Ha! Woo! God gave me the opportunity to do a retake so I can come at this thing correct and encourage somebody before you. You are more than enough. Oh, okay, I'm out of here. All right, let me go. I just, somebody needed to hear that tonight. You are more than enough. I don't care what you think. I don't care about how you think you look. I don't care what you think you're missing. I don't care what they say you should have. I'm telling you right now, I want you to encourage yourself. I'm more than enough. I have everything that I need. God has supplied me with. And I am declaring over my life, thank you, Holy Ghost. I am more than enough. This is good. Okay, here we go. All of his efforts were made to disguise a greedy, deceptive man who used people like objects and then threw them away like trash when he was finished with them. Harvard-educated political scientist and author Edward J. Epstein published a book called Dossier, The Secret History of Armand Hammer, which revealed Hammer's real history. Hammer didn't become a millionaire while he was in his 20s, nor was he an art collector in Russia. He wanted to make a fortune. He wanted to make a fortune in business, but he was continually in debt and actually supported himself through government-granted business concessions and by laundering money for the Soviets so that they could finance covert agents. When Soviet officials needed someone to unload the art treasures they had confiscated in the wake of the revolution, they looked to Hammer. He made up the story about his first million to explain how he came by the artwork and treasures. As he sold the objects in the U.S., he received a percentage, but the bulk of the funds were funneled to the Soviets. Hammer never really had much money until he married his second wife. Look at this. Look at how deceptive people can be. Come on, somebody. This is why you got to be careful. You got to be wise as a serpent, but gentle as a dove. Look at him. His first wife, Olga, he was married in Russia in 1928. When he first met her in 1925, she was married to someone else, but Hammer quickly convinced her to divorce her own husband. Wow. The world has a way of using people to get what they want. I'm here to tell you, when you are a kingdom citizen, you support people to make sure they get what God has for them or what they need. Yeah, we're the total opposite. In 1929, they had a son, Julian. But when Hammer's aspirations grew and Olga no longer fit the image he wanted to project, he went looking for another wife. Never satisfied. That's a part of the world's trait. Come on, somebody. The world is never satisfied. And if you're around persons that constantly want you to please them, or you can't please them enough, they are never satisfied. You need to exit stage left, because you will never be able to satisfy the greed of their ego. I told y'all this 50 is on fire. Type that in, y'all. 50 is on fire. This 50th episode is on fire. Okay, here we go. He began wooing Angela Carey Sevely, a socialite whose family traveled in the circles of the Roosevelts. In 1943, 3 weeks after his divorce from Olga was final, he married Angela. He used her money and her political connections to get a concession from the government so he could make liquor for general consumption at a time when most distilleries were required to produce materials that would help with the war effort. The venture was very profitable, but he also incurred heavy debt. In the 1950s, Angela had served her purpose, and Hammer was ready to look for another wife. Never satisfied. He soon found Frances Tolman, a widow whose husband had left her $8 million. He had already promised his mistress, Betty Jane Murphy, that he would marry her when he divorced Angela. But he reneged on that promise. Lord, even though, look at this, y'all, Betty was expecting a child Hammer said he wanted. He had Betty shipped to Mexico, arranged a phony marriage for her with another man to keep his own name off the birth certificate, and made her promise not to tell the child he was the father when she was born. Meanwhile, when his divorce was finally settled in 1956, he married Frances. He then lent his companies Frances money to get them out of debt. He also bought stock in Occidental Petroleum Corporation. Okay, look at this, y'all. Now, he's going from one thing to another. I mean, he's going from one woman to another, one business venture to the other, and he is constantly keeping up the deception of who he is. How exhausting it must be to try to be something you're not. And I'm talking to somebody right now. I'm telling you, the most freedom you can have is to be who you really are. I'm living a life of freedom because I'm finally able to live my life the way God intended for me to live it. Good, y'all. This is good. This 50 is on fire. I'm telling you. Live the life. Don't live no double life. You ain't got to be one way here and one way and another way somewhere else. Live your life. Good, y'all. This is really good. All right, here we go. It didn't take Hammer long to become president and the chairman of Occidental. He had already built his reputation falsely as a great businessman. His flair for publicity and hype drove up the company's stock price. He then used that inflated stock to buy other companies to keep absolute control of the company, since he owned only 10% of the stock. He forced the members of Occidental's board of directors to give him signed, undated letters of resignation. That way he could keep them from voting against him. When he saw the potential for a vastly lucrative oil deal in Libya, he bribed his way in. Meanwhile, he used Occidental like his own personal bank account. In the end, he owned 1% of Occidental stock, but since he was a chairman of the company, he used his resources to subsidize his philanthropic activities and underwrite his parties, pay for his personal lawyers and bodyguards, and provide him with a private jet, a Boeing 727. Wow. Same old story. Hammer appears to have burned every relational bridge he ever built. He had no friends at Occidental. He fired his top executives as though they were errand boys. He allowed his father to go to prison for him. The older doctor took the blame for a botched abortion Hammer performed that led to a woman's death. This man was out of complete control. He neglected his own son, sometimes paying him to stay out of the public eye, forcing him to make an appointment to talk to him on the phone. He hid himself from his only other child, his illegitimate daughter, Victoria. He left a trail of broken marriages. Even his last wife, Frances, gave her relatives evidence prior to her death so that he could sue him for defrauding her of $4 million. And Hammer cast off and paid off with Occidental's funds various mistresses over the years. Hammer alienated his two brothers' families too. In 1970, when the wife of his brother Harry died, his family asked Hammer to give them the old homestead in Vicksburg, Mississippi, which had been their family for 6 generations. Instead, he sold it to a stranger for $22,000. And in 1985, when his brother Victor died, Hammer filed a claim of $667,000 against a $700,000 estate. Rather than dispersing it to Victor's children and nursing home bound wife. Wow. Hammer dropped the claim to avoid public publicity only when it appeared that Victor's daughter would make the case public. Wow. It's no surprise that when Hammer's funeral was held on December 13th, 1990, it was poorly attended. His son, Julian, did not attend. Neither did the family of his two brothers. His pallbearers were his chauffeur, his male nurse, and other personal employees. More than anything else, Hammer had wanted to build and protect his reputation. Epstein described Hammer as a bullying blowhard with an ego like a Mack truck, whose main aim was to parlay a genius for negotiation, which he had, into a Nobel Peace Prize, which luckily for the prestige award he never got. His career as a humanitarian was loud, insubstantial, and based on hype. How often have you seen people hype their way into the spotlight? Hence why you need to stay out of the spotlight. I'm telling you, stay out of it, because I'm telling you, more than anything, it will burn you. Okay, here we go, y'all. We got about 9 minutes. In the end, Hammer had nothing. He didn't have the huge personal fortune everyone expected. Within a year of Hammer's death, more than 100 charities, museums, family members, and other individuals had made claims against his estate. He had publicly promised large sums to many charitable organizations, but had not followed through on many of those promises. Within days of his death, Occidental Petroleum distanced itself from him. The company's website doesn't even mention him in its history. His family was in shambles, not that it would bother him, and his precious image was ruined. When documents in Russia became declassified after the fall of the Soviet Union, his carefully hidden role in Soviet espionage came to light. Wow. Why relationships matter today. I'm on page 222, y'all. Armand Hammer exhibited a drive that was unsustainable until his death at age 92. It's difficult to know what fueled it, but I suspect that the absence of fulfilling relationships in his life may have contributed to it. Somehow he seemed to miss some key truths about relationships. He was missing a relationship. Something went wrong, because you cannot tell me this man came out of the womb wanting that life. Something happened in a relationship. You cannot tell me, because this brief description of what John Maxwell gave us did not mention anything about his upbringing. Something happened. Type it in there, y'all. I'm telling you right now, it's going to help somebody. Something happened. First, what he needs to know: life greatest experiences involve other people. Your relationships with other people matter. In the 17 indisputable laws of teamwork, the law of significance, somebody type in there, y'all, the law of significance. Law of significance. There's a law of significance. It states 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. Wow. I'm telling y'all, this 50 is on fire. 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. All the significant accomplishments in the history of mankind have been achieved by teams of people. We tend to revere rugged individuals, but there are no real-life Rambos or Lone Rangers. Rambos, Lone Rangers, Mavericks are not allowed in the kingdom. We understand that it takes a team. Everybody typing in, it takes a team. It takes a team for you to achieve the greatness that my wife and I, we became a team putting this church together. All those great events that you saw us putting on, it takes a team. This music ministry, it takes a team. It takes a team. All significant accomplishments in the history of humankind have been achieved by teams of people. We tend to revere rugged individuals, but there are no real-life Rambos or Lone Rangers who do things of great achievement on their own. The truth can also be carried over to a personal level. Most of life's great moments, the ones that resonate in our hearts and minds, involve other people. It's good. Rarely do we experience these times alone. And even when we do, our first inclination is to share them with others. Think back to the most important experiences of your life. the highest of highs, the greatest victories, the most daunting obstacles overcome. How many happen to you alone? I bet there are very few. Listen, those great moments in your life, I guarantee you, you can connect them with somebody else in your life. Me going to Africa, me going on my mission trips, I connect them to Apostle Larry Lee Thomas. There's no way. Me becoming a pastor of a church, I connected with Bishop Dwayne Corey Debnam. It's no way I could have done it without him. Me gathering, working with Collaborative Healing, I connected with Deacon Rodney Carr. Me doing Leading by Feeding, my God, I connected with me launching Leading by Feeding. I connected with Pastor Barbara Palmer. All these great things happen with other people in my life. Big, y'all. Big. You need to understand the significance of it all. You'll enjoy, I bet that everyone, when you understand that being connected to others is the one of life's greatest joys, you realize that life's best comes when you initiate and invest in solid relationships. Y'all type that in there right now. Invest in solid relationships. You'll enjoy life more if you like people. Of the people you know, which seems to have the most fun in life? Think about that a minute. Think about that. The people that you know, who do you see having the most fun in life? I see them. I got the picture in my face right now. They always smiling, enjoying life, love praising God, love being around work. Just got a smile on their face most of the time, hugging you, thanking God for your life, supporting you. Come on. Those kind of people, they go somewhere. They connected to people. They like people. Woo! I love it. Would you describe them as negative, suspicious, surly, or antisocial? Of course not. When have you known someone with those characteristics who love life and had a lot of fun? The Scrooges of life don't enjoy much of anything. On the other hand, people who love people usually have a ball. You gotta, some of y'all need to know, y'all know, and I know some of y'all watching, some of y'all just don't like people. And it's not because of anything. It's not, I think it's because of, like I said, something happened where you lost faith in people and people turned their back on you or people stabbed you in the back. So you just learned not to like people. I'm telling you right now, that is not a way to live life. Somebody's always going to do something to you, but because you were emotionally attached to the person and they did something to you, they hurt you, you have now not liked people. Love God's people. And I hate to say everybody is God's people. I love everybody. Yeah, people do some things wrong to me. It took me a little bit of time to get through it, but I'm learning that they have something value as well. Come on, y'all. We got 2 more minutes. If you like people, then no matter where you go, you'll meet a friend. Woo! You'll get further in life if people like you. Consultant John Luther observed, natural talent, intelligence, a wonderful education, none of these guarantees success. Big. You've seen it. People got great talent, intelligent, wonderful education. Guess what? It does not guarantee success. Something else is needed. The sensitivity to understand what other people want and the willingness to give it to them. I understood what people wanted. They needed motivation. And they needed biblically based motivation. I saw it. God told me they wake up in the morning. They need something to get them started. And he said, do a morning motivation. But I'm like, God, I don't want to be no motivational speaker. I'm not making you a motivational speaker. I want your preaching to motivate people. Help me, oh God. And when he showed me that, I knew what they wanted. I mean, he showed me, it wasn't me. He showed me what y'all wanted, and I'm delivering it. They want to be a disciple, but they don't know how to be a disciple. Deliver them discipleship. You discover what people want, you'll be successful. I'm sorry. Discover what they want and deliver what they want. You'll be successful. I'm here to tell you that's big. Listen, y'all. This has been the Power 30. And type it in there one more time. 50 was on fire. 50 was on fire. I know some of y'all ain't going to be able to go to sleep, but I'm grateful that God has sent me here tonight to be able to share this episode of Today Matters, episode number 50. Listen, today matters. Why? Because yesterday ended last night. And what a way to close out a Becoming Whole Wednesday on a note like this. Wow, I'm excited. Thank you for showing up tonight. I really appreciate it. Listen, we on 50. We got another 50 to go, and we are going to have a great time doing it. Listen, enjoy your evening. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. God bless y'all. Have a great night.